Hello, Jen Earthrunner here, back with another how-to or guide or tips, however you want to describe it. I hope you're having a good day or have had a good day. It's a chilly morning where I am when I record this, which is it's a Thursday, and it is, what is the date? I don't know what the date is. It's the 21st of November, so it's Black Friday day week, whatever that is these days. I think it's a week, isn't it, on Amazon? So that starts today. So I shall be going and doing some browsing around the Amazon website. Not that I've got any money, but you know, it's nice to have a look and think, oh, if only I had the money, I could get that. Anyway, sorry. So yes, welcome. If you caught the first how-to guide, tip, whatever, on installing mods, and you've come back for more, thank you, appreciate it. If you just watch my stuff, generally my playthrough series of Fresh Fields, or even my Star Trucker series, appreciate you coming back. So what we're going to do in this one is it's going to be about the days per period or days per month, and a way you can do that outside of the game to kind of force it to begin immediately. Because when you do it in the game, you set your days per month. So it's 1 by default, which means there are 12 days in a year, 1 day per month. So if you change that to 2, you have to wait until the beginning of the next season for that to take effect. So it's not too much of an issue, really, if you start in August, but it does mean that you'll only get 1 day in August, and then when you get to September, it will change to whatever. So if you set it to 2, you'll get 2 days in September, and then onwards from there. But of course, if you set it to more than 2, you set it to something crazy like I think 28 is the max, to 28. And obviously you're going to get 1 day in August before you get your 28 in September. So that's how it works in the game. You can, however, manipulate that using not using, but editing the XML files. So that's what I'm going to go into today. I'm going to show you what happens, how it works, and talk through those XML files, and then show you what you can do to force that to happen immediately, and potentially not have too much of an impact on the game. I'm not aware that there is any other impact. As long as you start in August, still everything should be okay. Now there is a mod, or there was a mod for FS25, which was start in spring, which started you in March. But I believe that mod actually was able to deal with other aspects of the game settings, because obviously if you were to just edit the XML and start in January or something like that, then all of you'd have to adjust crop fields, etc., because they could be out of sync. So there's an awful lot more to it if you want to change the starting month. So, and I'm not going to get into that in this video. But what I will also do is add a caveat here, is that editing XML files, or the actual raw files, is likely to potentially change the behavior of your game, and it might be a negative impact. So you have to be very careful when you start editing game files and so on and so forth. So I'm not telling you, yes, go and do this. I'm basically telling you what I've understood. I've been doing some experimenting with this game, with FS25. I'm just showing you what you can do if you want to have that impact straight away. Now, I'm only doing this for a brand new game. You can do this if you've already got an existing save game, but again, you just have to bear in mind that it might impact things, so you have to be very careful. I've not done it on a save game where I've already played through several months. I did it for my Fresh Fields. I started in spring using the Start in Spring mod, and then I modified the game files. But I didn't do it quite right to begin with, so I had to deal with it as I went on. But anyway, let's get started, because I'm rambling on here and we're already 4 minutes in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new game. I'm going to come right up here to 20. I'm going to turn that off. I'm not going to change anything else. We'll just leave everything it is. That's irrelevant, what we've got there. So you can see I've got the freeze time mod. That will allow me to bring it down to 0, so the clock will stop. I've got a few other things here, such as game settings, which includes the speed up mod, so I can actually get time times 9600, so we can really whiz through, because I want to try and sort of whiz through the time so we can see what happens. So let's, and obviously I've got quite a few other mods there, so but they're all irrelevant really. It's just those two mods that are important. So we'll get that game started, and what we'll do is, because what will happen is when you start a game, nothing will appear in your My Games folder, so it will default to your user profile. So see users, username, documents, My Games, Farming Simulator 2025, or wherever you might have that profile. As I said in the previous video about the installing mods, I use OneDrive, so that's where my default is. So you can see I've got a save game 1 here, and you probably saw that I did have a save game in the save game 1 slot. So you have to save the game for it to appear in here. So even though I've started a new game and we should be ready to go, let's just click through there. So let's come back out. We don't have anything here. So I need to stop time. So let's get the time stopped. So there we go. So it's 7 and 8 will adjust the time on the keyboard. Numbers 7 and 8. 7 reduces the speed. 8 will increase the speed. So we're not doing anything. So time, I could go and I could carry on doing farming, etc., and we would be at 8 o'clock forever, if you wanted to do that. So let's get in and save the game. So what we're going to do is we'll have a look at the settings here. So we can see here we can just adjust days per month here. Oh, let me switch that to off so it doesn't auto save while I'm doing things. Not that I'm going to be 15 minutes. I'm going to be doing things quickly, but we can set that here, days per month. Okay, so that's what we can do. Now let me just come back into my game folder and just refresh. We see now we have a save game 20. So if I go in there, we have a lot of content here, a lot of XML files, which are all now unique to that save game. So if you edit any of these, it will only affect that save game. But we also have other things, so caches and so on and so forth. Lots of different files here that are done. So you can go into several of these files and make changes. Vehicles, for example, you can adjust the wear, damage, dirt levels, etc. by going into there. You can adjust crops in fields by going into the fields XML, and so on. There's various things you can do here. But what we are looking at, and the only file that is important to us, is environment.xml. So let's have a quick look in there. Okay, so what we've got here is information about the environment, which includes the current day and the days per period. And also it sets our forecast. They're the main ones. So the ones that we're looking at is current day, days per period, and the forecast settings. That's what we're focusing on during the video. So the current day is 6. Now, bearing in mind we start in August, it might seem a little bit weird, but the calendar for the game calendar actually starts in March. Although when we start a game, it's August, but it starts in March, because if you count forward from March to August, that's 6 months effectively. So that's something important to bear in mind, okay? Because that is our starting number. So we can't, if I change that current day to 1, the calendar when I went into the save game would be March, but all of the crops would potentially remain exactly as they were without having to go in and manipulate those. So that's an important thing there. So we can edit the days per period here. We can change that to whatever we want, but what I've noticed is it doesn't actually change it in the game. It will still be 1, and then it potentially messes things up. So that's where we are. So the forecast, if we look at the forecast, and we need to look at this and understand what's going on here, because we've got day 6, so that's August. So we can see that day 6 here is August and summer. So we're bearing in mind we're on 1 day per period. So then if we look here, we've got 7, 8, and 9. So we've got 3 days for autumn. Oops, got part of the summer one there. Because we're on 1 day per period, so there are only 3 days. So that's October, November, September, October, November. And then we've got the same for winter. We've got 10, 11, 12 for winter, and then 13, 14, and starting of 15. Now this is, so there we go. So that reflects the 1 day per period, and this is this will adjust itself. Obviously, it doesn't forecast for what's already been, so that if this will update itself as the calendar changes to forecast what's coming. So when we change our days per period, days per month, this will be impacted. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back into the game. Let me close that down. I am now going to change that to 2, and then we are going to save the game again. And then we can drop out again, and we can go back to that file. Just make sure it's changed. Go back in. Oops, no, that's wrong. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to open it in Notepad++. Oh, is it not? Is it not saved it? Did it not save it? Game settings, 2 days. Back. Save game. Did I save it? Where are we? Oops. Oh, I'm in a bit of a weird one then. Oh, right. No, it's okay. Yeah, I remember now. So yeah, sorry, I got confused myself then. Okay, so what we notice is that nothing has changed effectively with the days per period. That is still 1. So nothing has changed with the current day because we're still in August. But we should start to see some changes, because we note here that we've now got more spring, which is a little bit weird. So we've still got our 1 day of summer, and we've still got 1 day of autumn, 7, 8, 9. And we've still got 1 day there, but now we've got loads more spring, which is a bit weird, but it's still all 1 day. Winter there, 9, 10, 11. Sorry, 10, 11, and 12. 13, 14, 15 is still spring, but we're seeing, oh no, that is the same. No, that's fine. Yeah, so nothing has changed. We've still got the 1 day per week. Okay, so let's go in, and we will now fast forward the game, and we'll go into September. Okay, so let's just get to 8 o'clock. There we go. I don't know, for some reason I just like to go to 8 o'clock. So let's just have a look here. So game settings, we've still got that at 2. So let's save the game. Let's go back in. I've still got it open. Yes, let's reload it. Okay, so now we can see that it's changed. Okay, so our current day is now 13. So what's happened here is that now we've changed it to 2. It's now running on a 2 day per period, 2 days per month, but it has retrospectively counted that from March. So even though we haven't played March, April, May, June, and July, they are now 2 day months as well. So we're in September, so we're in day 1 of September, of our 2 day September month. So March to August is 6 months, so that's 2 days each month, so that's 12. We're now in the first day of September of a 2 day month. So we're 13. So the days per period is set. But if we now look at the forecast, it has changed. Because now we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we've got 7 and 8 September, 9 and 10 October, 11 and 12 is now November. And then the same applies in winter, but we haven't got all of the winter. Oh, yeah, we have. Yeah, we've got... Oh, no, we haven't. So we've got 13 and 14, which is December. 15 and 16 is February. And because we're on a 2-day week, the forecast hasn't extended out that far. So it was because we've changed the season. We've gone from summer into autumn, so it has changed. So that's it. Just checking my notes here, what I need to do. Okay, so yes, so that's what happens when you do that. So if we now change the settings to 3 days, and we'll save that, nothing should have changed here. So this is, we'll close it down and reopen it just to make sure. We'll refresh there to make sure we've got the new date, timestamp. So nothing has changed. We're still on current day 13 and days per period 2. Everything is the same. Notice that the current monotonic day is at 7. Because we haven't changed that, and I wouldn't advise changing that. I haven't done enough experimentation to understand what impact that has, but you don't need to change it. Just let that increment now as it does. So I would say, unless you're going to experiment and try to work out exactly what you can do with that and what that does, I would just leave that as it is. It doesn't really affect anything, and that will just increment now. So when we go to day 2 of September, that will just go up to 8. When we get to October, it will go to 9. So it just keeps counting up normally. So I wouldn't touch that really. So now we're in. Let's do this. Let's speed time, and we'll go into beginning of November and see what happens. So I find this quite useful when I want to do a playthrough series, because it gives me the ability to get, the number of days I want in that beginning month, because we know that August and September are usually quite busy, aren't they? Lots of things going on. So by having that straight from the start, I find is quite useful. So we're almost there. Let's get to day 2 of November. And then we'll stop. Right. Okay, here we are. So let's save that. So game settings is still 3. We've saved that. Let's now go in and have a look at our file. So that should have saved and updated. It has done. So now let's go in and have a look. Right, so we can see that we've now gone to 18. So we're at the end of November. So we've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, which is 9 months. We're on the 2nd day of that, so we count all the days. So that's 18, because we're still on that 2-day period. So although we've gone through all of autumn, effectively, we're at the end of autumn now, we haven't changed the day per period because, as I said, it doesn't take effect until the beginning of the next season. So we changed it to 3 in autumn, so it has to wait until winter before it makes that change. But we can see that we're still operating on just those 2 days with our forecast. So right, so that's that. So if we now, let me close that down. If we now go back into game and we expand that into December, And then we'll see. What should have happened is it should have changed. Oh. And there we go. Well, let that snow. Okay, so we'll go in, we'll save the game. Okay, so we are still on 3 days. So let's go in and check the file. It has changed. It's just refresh. And then we'll go in and edit. Okay, so now, again, day 28. So again, it's retrospectively gone back from March and counted each month as a 3-day month from March. So 27 days are for those first 9 months with 3 days each, and we're on the first day of September, so 28. And you notice that the monotonic day has just incremented just normally, effectively. It's not really made huge amounts of changes there. So days per period is now 3. So we should now see, we're at the beginning of winter, so we've got 13, 14, and 15 is December. 16, 17, 18 is January. 19, 20, and 21 is February, and then March, spring. So it's now, the forecast is now set as well. So that's important, because otherwise you get the wrong weather, which is exactly what happened when I did this in FS22. I ended up with the weather getting out of sync. So I had to work out how to adjust that. Here it looks slightly different to FS22. So here it's easy to deal with. So I'll close that down because we are pretty much done there. What I am now going to do is I'm going to quit out of here, and I am now going to start a new save game, and I'm going to go in and make changes immediately. So let's start that save game. I'll do that in slot 19. Turn that off. Continue that. Yep, we want all of those mods. So we're going to go in and we're going to change the save game. We're going to change the number of days per month to 3, and then we'll save the game and quit out of the game. Not the game itself, sorry, the save game. Just exit the save game. We don't need to quit out of the game because we're only modifying the XMLs that are specific to that save game. So if we were doing mods, then we would have to quit out of the game so it can reload the mod. But we're only manipulating the... Oops, let's stop the time there. So we're only manipulating the save game itself. So game settings, we're going to do that to 3. And then we're going to save the game. And then we are going to... Oh, not just yet, because we noticed that if we look at August... in the top right, it's just August. There's no number there to indicate that we're actually on a days on more than 1 day per month. And if you remember in the earlier on, you can go back to see in-game footage from when I was experimenting with adjusting the days and looking at the XMLs. You'll notice that once we go more than 1 day per month, you'll get a number there to reflect the actual number of which day you're on in that month. So that's how that works. So just save it again, because just to make sure I did save it. And now we'll quit out. Okay, so we'll wait for that. Otherwise, tabbing out can be a little bit weird. Right, let's get out now. Okay, so now we come back into our main folder and we have our save game 19. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back in and I'm going to edit. No, I'm not going to do it with Skype. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to edit with Notepad. Right, now what we're going to do, because we've got it set to 3 in game, we can set this to 3 here. But we also now need to retrospectively set that to 3 days per week. So we've got March, April, May, June, July, which is 5 months. 3 days per month is 15, but we're on the first day of August, so we need to set that to 16. We don't need to change the monotonic day. we can set the days per period. Now, what we also need to do is effectively take everything that's inside that forecast and delete it. There's nothing to worry about because, as we know, the forecast changes. It will change every time you go from one day to the next. It will update the forecast, so it will regenerate that forecast. We don't need to worry about that. Right, so now we've saved that, we can now go back into the game, and we should see org1 as the day that we're on in game, and then we'll save the game and come back to have a look. Well, before I save it, we'll go back and have a look and see if anything's changed in the XML file. Okay, so there we go. Right, so now we can see that we've got org1, so we know that it is now active with multiple days per month. So if we just come in here and we look at the weather, remind myself where it is because things have moved around a bit. So we can see that we've got August the 1st, or August 1, day 1. We've got a good forecast there. But if we look to the right of that, we can see that we've got Org2, Org3, and then we've got 3 days for September. So it has taken effect immediately. We know that that has done. But I don't think, maybe it has, but I don't think it will have changed in here because we haven't saved the game yet. So no, it hasn't changed because, as I said, you need to save the game in order to force that to change. So we've saved the game. So let's go back and have a look. That should have now updated. There we go. So nothing's changed there with current day or days per period because we've already set that. So that's now set, and that will now increment as we move forward. But we can see that we've got the forecast set. It's regenerated that, so we can see that for summer we now have 3 days in summer because the effect is immediate. So we're only in August, so we can only have 3 days left in summer. So 6, 7, and 8 are all summer. So we've now got that 3 days. If we look at autumn, 9, 10, and 11 are September. 12, 13, and 14 are October. And then we've got the first day of November in there. But we've all got autumn. So it is basically counted in the fact that we now have 3 days per month. So what we'll do is we will zoom ahead and we'll just make sure, we'll watch and we'll look at the tree, and then that will give us an indication as to the fact that the seasons are in line with what we're doing. So you can see that we've gone to Org2. We now go into the 3rd day of August, and then we'll start to hit September. There we go. So everything is sorted out, and because we've not changed the starting month, everything in the fields is fine. We don't have to worry about any crops because that will now sort itself out. And we should start to see the leaves on the trees starting to change colour and drop as we go through autumn or fall for my American viewers. There we go. So if we just quickly come in here and we'll look at the temperatures, we can see that the temperatures, it's still quite warm in November though, but we can see that the temperatures are dropping down there as we pass through. And we get into December and it's very cold. We're now in November 2. But we started to get January coming in. Temperatures are changing slightly. Of course, it gets cold at night, doesn't it? Yes, where I am at the moment, it did get down to -4 here overnight. And when I was out on my early morning walk with the dog. But it's currently, bearing in mind, we are 10:30 in the morning. It's -1 at the moment where I am. So, and we can see that we go through into February as well. We've got that forecast coming up. And we're still in winter. Crop calendar is the same. Nothing's changed there. And now we can see that we get into March and temperatures start to go up a bit. And we're starting to get more into the warmer weather. Trees are still leafless. Snow for early February. And once we'll get into, wait till we get into March. There we go. And then I'll stop it at 8 o'clock. We'll stop the time there. Right, let's go back now. So now we can see that, yeah, we got the warmer temperatures in April. So it's the weather has maintained its pattern throughout, even though we have changed, hard set those files right from the start. Let's just have another look back. So again, you see we're at current day is 37 because we've got 3 days in. We've now done a whole year, effectively, as far as the actual, not the game goes for our save game, but the actual game, how it operates. It's built in to start from March. So we've gone from March to March, which is 36 days for 3-day months, plus the fact that we're at the beginning of March after the first year, 37. 3-day week, and we've got that, all of that. I mean, pretty much the whole forecast is for spring, because we've got 3 days for March, April, and May. But we can see that we've got some additional weather patterns coming in here with the inclusion of hail, which has just extended that out a bit more. So that is pretty much how you can set your game to run immediately from however many days you want to have, rather than waiting for it to hit the next season. So if you want to go with 5 days, you can have 5 days for that August month straight away by doing this. As I say, be very careful what you do here. There's not that much to change, but if you do get those numbers wrong, it can cause you issues, etc. And don't forget, you don't need to take out the forecast. Well, it might still generate it, but just take out everything with the instance in that, but within the forecast tags. So the forecast function or section is tagged with less than, forecast, greater than. Then you've got all the instances, and then it closes out with the / forecast within the less than, greater than symbols at the bottom there. So just take out all of those instances between, and it will regenerate itself to get the weather when you next save the game. Well, it's already generated it when you start the save game, but when you save it, the file will get updated, because it only updates files when you save them. So I hope that is useful. I mean, as I said, if you only want to do it to 2 days, maybe 3, you could probably live with doing it through August. But if the mod comes out to start in spring, obviously you might want it more, because there's lots of things that you might want to be getting done during spring and early summer to prep yourself. And 1 day is not necessarily enough. But obviously, if you start in March, you've got 3 days. You'll only have the 3 days before you get to summer, where it will change anyway, and in June, and sort things out. But that's what you can do. If you found that useful, please do like the video. If you want some help, I'm quite willing to help people out if they just want to make sure they get it right. You know, just leave some comments, etc. Please do subscribe to the channel. It helps get my videos out there for other people to see if they might find this useful as well. It's nothing special, this. It's, you know, it's probably not that important, but for me, I like to have this done. And I thought, well, you know, I've looked into this, trying to work out how to do it and make it done. It might be useful for other people. Certainly if you do role play and you want to do this right from the start, maybe other people have sorted this out and they didn't think that it needed a video, but I just thought, well, you know, why not? I'm trying to get myself out there with some more of these types of videos, so, you know, why not do a video? It might be useful to people. So yes, thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day or evening if you've already had your day, and please do check out my other content, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much. Take care.